Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Monday night weather forecast. I am Mr. G, your meteorologist. Thank you for joining me today. And if you are checking me out tonight on TikTok, leave a follow. Comments are always welcome. And as well with YouTube, leave your like, comments, and also subscribe to the channel. So let's get to our weather forecast. We're looking at the city of Philadelphia. Is our live look tonight in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. We have wet streets out there tonight as we do have rain showers and some thunderstorms in the area. Maybe we might get a strike of lightning in our camera feed there, but we will be seeing those wet streets continue through the evening tonight. Temperatures are in the lower 70s right now, so you are looking at it fairly comfortable out there, even though we are dealing with some showers and thunderstorms. So let's talk about the weather that we're going to be seeing across the country and talk about the weather where you live. All right, so we do have some thunderstorms that we're looking at out there across parts of the Midwest as well as the East Coast. And as we take a look at our live radar right now, and this is also indicating our areas of severe weather, we have some severe thunderstorms here across the high plains into parts of Kansas, Nebraska, as well as through Wyoming and eastern Colorado, as we have severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in place. And we're also seeing some severe thunderstorm watches in place across the southeast over South Carolina and eastern Georgia. We're going to be seeing those severe thunderstorms, and as well as up here into parts of the mid-Atlantic states and into the northeast, we're looking at those scattered showers and thunderstorms. And we have some monsoonal moisture down here across southern Arizona and into New Mexico. And there's a little bit of a tropical fetch to that off of the Gulf of California. And we're going to be talking about something interesting that's going to be taking place across the tropics in the southwest as we head on through the next couple of days. So as we move on with our forecast, here is our active severe thunderstorm watches right now. We have a very large severe thunderstorm watch across the high plains, Kansas, southwestern Nebraska, and eastern Colorado. We have an active severe thunderstorm watch in place, and we have another severe thunderstorm watch in place down here across the southeast. So Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina, we're seeing the potential there for severe thunderstorms. And we have a tornado watch here across the northeast and into the mid-Atlantic states. So upstate New York, Pennsylvania, as well as Maryland, Virginia, and New Jersey, we're seeing a severe thunderstorm and tornado watch in place. Now, this is in parts of northern New York where we did have this occur this afternoon, and we are looking at the National Weather Service to go out and confirm this. Looks like a tornado to me, so they are not 100% sure. Could be a gust NATO, it's possible, but that looks like a pretty much an EF0, maybe EF1 tornado. So that is in New Hill, New York. So we are looking at that there across northern New York, where we're seeing that potential there for it produce a tornado in New England. So here is our severe storm threat for the remainder of today and into tonight through the mid-Atlantic states, through West Virginia, and down through Virginia and North Carolina and into Kentucky and Tennessee. We're going to be seeing a significant threat for some severe weather, and our primary issues are going to be large hail, damaging winds up to 75 miles an hour, heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and some tornadoes are also going to be possible this afternoon and evening. And with this severe thunderstorm watch, our outlook here, we do see the possibility of thunderstorms across the southern plains, and that is going to be moving into the high plains of the of parts of Texas and through western Kansas and eastern Colorado. We're going to be seeing the potential there for some severe thunderstorms. And over that area, our primary threats is going to be damaging winds and large hail. Now, here we are with our tornado threat this evening, and we're going to be seeing that tornado threat across the mid-Atlantic. So we're looking at the southern Ohio Valley as well as Shenandoah, so Virginia, Maryland and into West Virginia and southern Pennsylvania, we're going to be seeing that tornado potential, and into Tennessee and as far south as Atlanta and northern Alabama. So down into the south through the Appalachian Mountain Range and through cold country, we're going to be seeing that potential for tornadoes, as we already saw that tornado in our video there. Now we got to talk about flash flooding that's going to be taking place once again in the Northeast. Now we have cooler temperatures because that frontal boundary has passed through the area, but as that front works its way through slowly, we are dealing with that severe weather and the heavy rainfall. And we're going to be seeing that severe weather and heavy rain appear across the New England area, so upstate New York, northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Connecticut, western Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire. We're going to be dealing with heavy rain and flash flooding through the remainder of this evening through tomorrow morning. So we have the potential for 2 to 3 more inches of rain this evening and tonight that could lead to that flash flooding concern on already saturated ground. Now we have that damaging wind threat across the eastern United States, from the mid-Atlantic down to the southeast. So from Atlanta all the way to D.C. and Philadelphia, we're going to be seeing damaging winds, and those winds can hit up to 75 miles an hour. So very strong possibility of some extreme wind gusts with some of these severe thunderstorms tonight. And we're going to be looking at severe thunderstorms on Wednesday. So as we head into Wednesday, we're going to see severe storms out across the plains. So this is going to be out across southern Missouri, northern Arkansas. This is the Ozarks area, as well as the northwestern Tennessee and southern Illinois and western Kentucky. And we're going to be dealing with southeastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma, just northeast of Tulsa, south just around Kansas City, St. Louis as well. We're going to be seeing in that area of severe weather, and our primary threats is going to be damaging winds, large hail, and heavy rainfall. Isolated tornadoes are also possible, so a lot to watch out for your day on Wednesday in that region and across the upper Midwest. So Illinois, again, we're going to see that potential for flash flooding all the way up into Michigan, where we could see the possibility, or at least a marginal risk, for flash flooding from heavy to severe thunderstorms as we move through the day on Wednesday. And then later in the week, that frontal system is going to set up a double barrel low pressure system set up, and we're going to have a reinforcing front. So both for Thursday and Friday, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms for folks from Buffalo down to Nashville, and then from Charlotte all the way up to Burlington, Vermont. So we're going to be dealing with the severe thunderstorms and rain both on Thursday and Friday for many of you across the mid-Atlantic, into the Northeast, the Eastern Great Lakes, and into New England. So, in the tropics, so we got some weirdness in the tropics. This is post-tropical Eugene. This was a tropical storm, but now it's a post-tropical system with winds at about 35 miles per hour heading to the northwest. But check out what's going to happen with this storm system, as we got problems with the map. Are we not right on the map? My map is out of order. We are out of order. Okay, so... Alright, so we're out of order, alright? So this is out of order, but we're going to talk about this guy in a second more. So pay attention to little Eugene right there. He's a little guy. But he actually covers more, but you just see that cloud cover. But his wind field and the upset, the angry seas and his effect on the ocean surface is much larger than you can see of those clouds there. But we have our temperatures, and we see our temperatures change over the last 24 hours here. But notice how it's still warm down in the south, across Texas, the desert southwest, along the Gulf Coast, and into the southeast and into the mid-Atlantic states, because our front has not passed. But you can see that departure from average is 10 to 20 degrees cooler than what we've been seeing over the last 36 hours. So it's much cooler across the Great Lakes, and look how much cooler it is across the northern Rockies and the high plains. So Montana and Wyoming, we're seeing temperatures flirt with the 50s and lower 60s. So it's been much cooler across the northern part of the country and the Great Lakes area and the upper Midwest and the northern plains. So we're seeing it much cooler. Again, that heat is going to continue. And it's not unusual for August for us to start to get a brief taste of fall. It tends to happen across the northern part of the country where we start to see a little bit more activity as far as fronts passing through that will bring some bits and rounds of cooler weather, kind of priming you for that fall season there. So that's a little bit of good news. Okay, so let's talk about this photo here. Now this is in Arizona near Tucson, and this is a saguaro cactus. It is so hot in Arizona that the cactus are just basically saying, you know, F this, I'm out. And they collapse them because it's been so dry and it's been 115 plus degrees with no humidity. So these guys tend to absorb moisture. They can pull it from the ground. They can go for long periods of time without getting water. They can literally absorb the water from moisture from the air and from the ground. But it's so hot that their stalks are becoming brittle and are getting beat down by the heat. And these things are pretty heavy, so they collapse in on themselves and fall to the ground. So we're seeing the saguaro cactus committing suicide this summer because it's so miserable in Arizona. And thinking of how miserable it is in Arizona, now notice that now we don't have Arizona with any heat alerts or heat advisories right now, but we are seeing it over southern New Mexico and Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina. We have our heat advisory in place where we're still seeing excessive heat and excessive heat watches and heat advisories in place where we have a lot of humidity and warm temperatures, and very warm and hot temperatures as well. So the heat warnings continue down across the far southern United States. And let's talk about that heat, those highs through the middle part of the week, where we're going to be seeing it in the 60s and 70s across the upper Midwest and the northern plains through midweek. It's going to be very nice if you're in the Great Lakes and in the Northeast. Those temperatures will be comfortable in the 70s, the lower 80s, with much lower humidities in the 50%, in the 50-degree range. So much better humidity. Very nice across beautiful. I think the best weather right now is across the Pacific Northwest, where those temperatures are in the 60s and very low relative humidities. But our heat will hang on across Texas. It's going to stay in the triple digits across Texas and along the Gulf Coast and the desert Southwest as well. So unfortunately, you're not going to lose that. So it's going to stay hot. Look at these hot temperatures down across the Southwest. 111 to 105 in the Palm Springs area, and we're going to see temperatures go down because of a little bit of cloud cover that's going to be moving in from the remnants of Tropical Storm Jean, and we're going to talk about that more in just a minute. Las Vegas, we're going to see that come down from 105 to 100, and we're going to hover about that 110 to 111 range in Phoenix. In El Paso, we're going to see those temperatures drop a few degrees, but it's still going to remain unbearably hot across the South and the desert Southwest. Now, let's go back to Tropical Storm Eugene. Now, check out Tropical Storm Eugene's track here as it is going to be moving from this is a bit older, but this is about where we are right now, and it's going to make a turn toward the northeast, straight towards Southern California. So what that is going to do is bring that low pressure center probably across northern Baja California and into the deserts of Southern California, probably near Calexico, Yuma, that area of low pressure. It's going to go over extreme eastern California and over Arizona. So we're going to be seeing thunderstorms moving into that area as we move through like Thursday and maybe Friday, as that area of low pressure actually comes on shore, but it's not going to be tropical. It's going to lose its tropical aspects and be extra tropical. So, but this is what we're going to be dealing with as this system makes its way across the desert Southwest, and it's eventually going to get picked up by the monsoonal flow around our southern continental blocking high, and it's going to eventually get caught up in that flow and make its way. The remnants will make its way into the northern plains and eventually into the Midwest, maybe down through Minnesota and Iowa and into Wisconsin. Eventually, what may happen as we head into next week, if we follow the remnants of Tropical Storm Eugene. But again, we're not expecting any tropical storm tropical storm activity, but it will be clouds, some showers and thunderstorms, kind of a hit and miss stuff, because we will have that remnant, the extra tropical area, that little spin in the atmosphere, the leftovers from Tropical Storm Eugene. And it's not unheard of for a tropical system to move into the desert Southwest. Back in 1945, a tropical storm actually passed over Los Angeles near Long Beach, had 45 miles per hour winds and heavy rain, and even produced tornadoes. So it's not unheard of for tropical systems to affect the desert Southwest. You just don't get it like you do in the Southeast or in the Caribbean. And here is the forecast track for this remnants of Tropical Storm Eugene, or post-Tropical Storm Eugene, and this is what is going to do. This is the forecast model consensus here, that this is going to go across the extreme eastern California and across Arizona, maybe toward the Phoenix area, and we're going to be seeing those showers and thunderstorms. And this is the rainfall. Now, mind you, it's not going to produce a whole lot of rain. We're looking at about a half inch or less, maybe some isolated instances closer to an inch of rain down across Arizona and eventually into New Mexico. So we're not looking at a washout by any stretch of the imagination, but that is just something of interest to pique your interest a little bit. Now let's talk about something that's a bit more interesting. What we're looking at here is, this is the Mendenhall Glacier in Alaska, and what is happening, this is a time-lapse video of the melting along the glacier. This is the glacier basin here, and we are watching this water rush downstream, and it's a lot of flooding taking place just north of Juneau, Alaska. We've seen incredible video of homes getting washed down shore, so it's been very bad. We can see the flooding that's been taking place near the Mendenhall River in Alaska. This is near Juneau, and what's happening is the glacier has a freeze-thaw cycle, just like any other winter. We have freeze, and we have when things kind of thaw, where it's been just warm enough for the top layer of the glacier to melt a little bit. There's been, with climate change and all, and things being warmer, the glacier has been melting more than is what we typically would expect because of the climate change. So we have our glacial basin where it is melting, but it's creating a damming effect at the end of the glacier because it's refreezing, and that water eventually breaks through that thin layer of ice where it's freezing, and it breaks through, and then that water rushes through. But as the water pushes its way through that opening, it actually heats up and melts the area around it faster because of that friction and that force of all that water coming through. So it escalates the melting, so that water rushes down and through the river much faster. It increases the speed of our flow from the river, and this is what's taking place at the Mendenhall Glacier. And now this is a process that is a continuing cycle. Is going to refreeze, and all of this will go away, but that cycle will again take place. It might take a couple of years, but that interval has been a lot closer because of the climate change and the change in the temperatures the warmer temperatures in the summer, and it's not as cold in the winters either. So it's been taking a little bit longer for that to refreeze. So that process has been slower as far as the refreezing, but quicker as far as the melting. So we're going to see more instances of this flooding. So live along these type of glacier basins at your own risk, because you really deal with the raging waters as these glaciers go through their freeze thaw cycle. Now you get a glacier like Hubbard Glacier. Hubbard Glacier is actually growing, and it's one of the fastest growing glaciers in Alaska right now, and it grows by 80 feet per year. So we're actually seeing some of the glaciers are not really freezing, and they're actually getting bigger. But Mendenhall is actually getting smaller as it goes through its freeze thaw cycle. So again, here's more, and you can see that tree getting pulled into the water as well as that water rushes by. And here is a look at the Mendenhall Glacier there in Alaska, and you can see that glacier coming around the bend there, and there it is, our glacial plain, and this is our glacial lake right there, and we're seeing this is where that melting is taking place right in this region here, and that water, there's actually water coming down across the top of the glacier as we get melting on the top of the surface, and that water just slides down and eventually fills up our lake, and it goes over the top, and it erodes away some of the ice below. So it erodes that ice away, and it rushes through, and then it busts the glacier. The ice is called glacial damming, and the ice dam breaks. We get these in Minnesota too. It occurs in our winters when spring starts to arrive and our spring thaw starts to take place. Places where ice jams up along the Mississippi River, and when it breaks through, then we have the flooding takes place, and it runs over the banks. This is what we're seeing. The same thing with the glaciers, but on a much bigger scale there. So a little bit there about the glacier in Alaska. My name is Mr. G. Thank you for watching today. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow with another video for you guys. But until then, have a good day. Be safe out there, and look out for one another.
Amazing grace.